My name's Joe Wagner. I work with Tableland and all the other Tablelanders. So today, sorry, this is the fourth workshop in our workshop series, and today I want to go over the example app I built called Gilla. It's a proof of concept that we worked on when we were kind of figuring out what we could do with Tableland that would help sort of push Web3 forward and enable people to own their own data while still incentivizing developers to build cool things and letting them make a living by building useful, valuable products. It's basically a simple Twitter clone, and I don't know if any of you were watching but couldn't hear. I showed a video of one of these cute little birds making its house inside a cactus, which I thought suited the Tableland motif. So jumping into the architecture of this talk will be mostly on sort of the architecture of how to build, one idea of how to build the app that gives the users ownership of their data and developers a way to make income from adding value to that data. There's two actors in this, as users and developers. Users are the people who want to do the tweeting or read tweets, and the developers are the ones that are building these applications for them to see other people's tweets and find other people to follow, those kinds of things. Here's a quick diagram of how this interaction can work at a basic level. So a user comes in on their web browser and they load the app code, which is effectively boils down to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And for this application, I used Nuxt3, which is still sort of in beta. They have a release candidate now, but when I built this, they did not have a release candidate, so it's potentially a little fragile, but everything seems to be working right now. The developer who wrote this Nuxt3 app in this scenario needs some way to kind of get value from this proposition and be incentivized to build this app. And the way that they do that is they create a table in Tableland that stores users of the Twitter clone and what the names of their tables where they put their tweets are. And that way, when you go to search for people to follow, this developer can show you that they curate that table and they potentially add you to that table if you're wanting to be followed by people. So let's see. Why don't we jump into and sorry, yeah, if you're not, I said this earlier, but if you're not familiar with Tableland, Tableland is Web3 SQL, basically. So you mint a table that you own and you can control, and you're the only one who can make updates to it, but it's publicly readable. So yeah, let's jump into the actual app here. When you go to Tableland for the first time, you're going to have to connect to the Tableland network, which is connecting to our gateway, which is a single validator right now, but we're in the process of getting the multi-validator set up. I'm going to look at the comments real quick just to make sure I'm not missing anything crucial. Everything I said was brilliant before the sound came on. Since then, maybe not so much. Okay, so when you load this is through Textile Hub, and it's actually on IPFS. That's the CID. So you come in here, you click connect, and the first thing it's going to ask you to do is MetaMask's going to pop up. I think the recording is slowing the computer down a little bit, so it doesn't take very long. No, page unresponsive. I want to try reloading the page. This worked. I tried this right before the video started and it worked like a charm. I wonder if the screencast is interfering somehow. Okay, here we go. So the first thing that happens when you want to work with Tableland is you have to sign a message that lets Tableland know what address you are. And right now this message sort of jarbled. We have a change coming up soon that'll make this a sign in with Ethereum message. It'll be much nicer to read and you'll understand what you're doing a little more here. But I'm going to sign. Okay, and then this app, what I wrote, it knows that I'm new because it looked to see if I had a table that matched the tweets table schema. And it didn't find one, so it's going to ask me to create my table that I'll own the data for. And MetaMask pops up, and it's going to show me what would look similar to the prompt to buy a ERC 721. So yeah, now I'll just be paying the gas. Our Tableland registry contract doesn't collect any fees of any kind, so the user who wants to mint a table just pays the gas for the table. So I'll confirm that. And that was the tweets table. So it's going to create this on Rinkeby. It takes a minute. Again, this is quite slow, I assume, because of the screencast. It's usually only a few seconds. Well, good question. So, where can you find the contract that mints the table for us? You can look at it on OpenSea. Let me just show you that. We can chat the link. We can probably put the link here. You can see some old tables I minted here on OpenSea. But yeah, I can put that link in the comments soon. Let's go back to the app. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'll put the link to that contract in the comments once you get a second. So the tweets table is created successfully. Now it's going to create a table for me to put people that I want to follow. And again, I'll pay the gas for that. There we go. So, yep, a little bit of gas, pay that, confirm that I want to create this table. And the last step is sort of the novelty of this application. It is that the developer controls a table that keeps track of every user who's using Gilla, and that is going to enable users to find each other. And the way that developer maintains that table, I've written AWS Lambda function. It's pretty simple. I'll show you the code after this finishes. But you just make an HTTP request saying you would like to be added to the registry table. And in a real-world production scenario, this developer would somehow have a paywall here, or maybe they would make you sign the terms of service and do something to get a little bit of money from the fact that they're paying to add you to their table and that they built this whole application. So here's the little note that pops up. And right now, Tableland is just paying for this. And so this request does require me to sign something to indicate to the developer server that I am who I say I am. So here's this simple little nonce. And this whole process is about 10 times faster than I do it normally, so I'm sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so we're in. Clear all these things. Okay, so we're in here, and I want to find it. There's nothing to see here yet. I could tweet if I wanted to, but first I'm going to go ahead and find some accounts to follow. And I have a couple set up here. And I know this person is Andrew, so I'm just going to type it in, and there I found him. That's Andrew. Go ahead and click that, and now I'm following Andrew. I added a way for you to sort of assign a nickname to this account, since the wallet address isn't that interesting. I'm going to type in Andrew. And there you go. That's that. Now there's one little last piece to this. And that is that it does have ENS support as well. So if I put this in here, I know this account has ENS. And yeah, I created this earlier, and I bought an ENS domain on Rinkeby, so it just shows up as my ENS domain there. Okay, let's see. We have some more questions. Oh, not a fan of the music. Yeah, there's a lot. I could turn it down potentially. Let's see. First friend, yep. Yes, your follower. So then that effectively, that's searching for users. That is making requests to the developer's table to see who else is out there in the world. So to maybe dig into the code a little bit more, this is on GitHub. Anybody who wants to can come check this out. The front end is the application that loads in the browser. It's a Nuxt 3 application. Pretty simple Nuxt integration with NPM. The way, if you're not familiar with Nuxt, it's a lot like Next, except it's Vue backing it instead of React backing it. They have these single file components. That's just HTML, then JavaScript or TypeScript down here. And the actual interesting part is in one of the components, which is in the components directory. Nuxt is nice. It loads your components for you, so you don't have to do any kind of importing or anything. Oh gosh, I'm getting some lively comments here. I wonder if I can block this person. Hopefully those comments disappear. So here's the main component, HTML, and then the JavaScript is sort of the application logic here. And I use a pattern of importing a global store that does that holds all the state in the browser and also does all of the asynchronous requests, Tableland, or connections to MetaMask and those kinds of things. Let me go check that out real quick. It's in the store directory. And maybe the best place to start is actually at the bottom of the file, which is the SQL statements. So when you first sign in, this is where it's asking you to create your two tables. One table you own that shows who you follow, and one table you own that holds your tweets. These are the actual create table statements that are sent to Tableland. Let's see, we got more questions. Carson. Yes, first spam. I feel honored. Welcome, chain guys, and awesome. Hopefully those comments disappear. Yeah, thank you. Make the font larger. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Let's see. This is no problem. How is that? Better? Hopefully. So yeah, pretty simple couple create table statements. And the part of the way this works is everyone who uses this application will have a prefix for their tweets table and a prefix for the who I follow table. That way when they come back to the application has an easier time finding if their tables exist already. Nice, good size. All right, so once those tables get created, and the actual logic here all happens at the top. So big. So when I first load the page and click the connect button, it runs this connection or this connect function, which connects to Tableland and specifies the address of the validator host. So then the next thing is we ask Tableland to list every table this user owns, and we compare the address with the prefix to see if any of these tables have already been created for this user. If they haven't, then we send that nice message saying we're going to create this table and it's going to cost you gas. And then same for the who I follow table. After that, we go down here and their table exists at this point, and we go ahead and select from the table. It'll be empty if it's new. If it's not coming back, then it'll have something in it. And then we go ahead and get the account and get the feed. The feed's probably the most interesting part. There we go. Yeah, we just we go ahead and get all the tweets for the people they're following, and there's some loops here to kind of limit responses so that we don't get overwhelmed with tweets. This is pretty simple logic, but it does the job at least until we get our 100,000th user or something. So, and let's see. One other thing before we move on is this Git Account Function. This is where the developer's incentive comes in. In order to be listed on the table that keeps track of who's using Gilla, you have to make this request to get the account. And the way that works is the first thing is we check if this user is already in the account table. And if not, then we go down to this init function. And there we go. And we request our account, which involves just a regular fetch call to this developer's server. And the developer's server code lives in the backend directory, and it's pretty straightforward. It's just a Aws Lambda function. And this Lambda function is effectively like a Node.js app. And if you're not familiar with Aws Lambda, you make a request to an HTTP URL endpoint, and it calls this handler. And this is just how Lambda works. It knows to look for a handler export. And it passes in an event object, which is effectively, if you go back here, which is the body of this message I'm sending. So in this case, I'm sending a message, which is the date. I'm sending a signature proving that I own the account. I say I own, specifying what account it is. Here with the address, and then say the table's name and the who I follow name, so that this backend can keep track of that in their table and table. So here in the handler, pretty simple sort of like checks to see if they are who they say they are. This is the node util, or actually it might be ethers util. Is it? Yeah, ethers. Yeah. So we go in, and assuming they pass our checks, we add the account to the table and table. And to do that, we need their address, the name of their tweets table, and the name of the table that holds who they want to follow. This is kind of where this developer could potentially have some sort of incentivization come in, like maybe the terms of service and some sort of tipping system, or maybe they charge some money to be added to this table so they don't have to pay the gas. And this is all sort of Tableland boilerplate for connecting with Node.js. And then here's the meat of this, is just inserting this user's account and the two table names into the table that they previously have created to hold all the users. So now this whole application is running. Just for fun, let's look at what this table actually looks like in Tableland. And I already kind of logged into this terminal that we have on our website, Tableland.xyz, and should be able to just query the table. Let's see if this works. Yep, there you go. So this is what the actual table looks like. And as you can see, it's just the address of the users, then their corresponding table names, and who I follow. Table. Oh gosh. Oh, I was trying to make it bigger, and it may have botched it. Okay, there we go. That's better. So nothing too complicated there, but now when a new user comes in and they want to search for someone, they can search for someone by their address, and they'll know how to look up that person's tweets. They would also know how to look up who that person's following. This app doesn't do that, but you could do that pretty simply. Okay, so let's see, any more questions? Nope. All good. That's the bulk of how this thing works. And the concept of using something like Aws Lambda to potentially collect enough revenue that you could it would be worth your time to build things like this was the big proof of concept we were going for here. Let's see, any questions about anything? There was a question on the contract address. Here's a table I minted with I think one of my accounts. And table and tables is the collection. Here, yeah, you can see all the tables that have been created. Be able to see a contract here. I'm not super familiar with OpenC, unfortunately. Just look up the contract address. Hold on 1 second. So, taking a second here. Yeah, and I'll go ahead and chat this to everybody. That's a good point. Those users can. Just switch to test now. This is unlinked V. Here's the actual address. So, yeah, you guys can dig in and check out this contract, see how it works. Basically, Tableland overall, this is changing pretty soon. So, yeah, the way it works currently is you effectively mint an ERC 721, and our validator then creates the table for you and associates it with that token. We have some changes coming down the pipeline that will you'll mint an ERC 721, and instead of then indicating to the validator that you've created this token, it'll actually just watch the contract. But minor detail there. Let's see, anything else? That was kind of a quick overview run through. I don't know. Anybody have any questions, or I don't have too much more to talk about actually. If not, maybe just ender a little bit early here. Cool. Well, yeah, hopefully that was interesting and useful for everybody. And yeah, thanks. And this is Joe. Come check us out on Discord, or on Twitter at Tableland_, and hope to see everyone soon. Okay, bye.